Home and Away Spoilers Roo's secret plan for Alf's new bait shop. Next week on Home and Away in the UK, Roo launches a secret plan to secure a new home for the bait shop. How far will she go to keep Alf in the dark? It's the end of an era for Alf next week, as he's finally forced to vacate his Flat Beach Wharf bait shop after 17 years. Alf recently received notice from the landlords that they would be hiking up the rent to almost double what he was already paying. Far more than he could afford. With all attempts at negotiation failing, Alf figured that they just wanted him out of the building, and wasn't sure if he had it in him to fight further. Roo opted to take up the campaign, authoring an article for the Coastal News on Alf's plight and his long history of serving the community. Alf appreciated his daughter's gesture and it did drum up some local support. And whilst it didn't do anything to change the landlord's stance, it gave Alf a renewed vigor as he opted to relocate the shop instead of close down completely. But Alf's search has so far not proved fruitful, with many other properties in the local area charging the same rates. As he updates Marilyn next week, she's sure that something will come up soon enough. Alf doesn't have the same optimism though, particularly after the run of bad luck he's had of late, and declares that he's flogging a dead horse. "I'm done," he tells a concerned Marilyn before walking off. As Alf later prints off some signs announcing the bait shop's closure, Molly comes in to tell him that his upcoming gala day for Manta Ray Boards is cancelled following their issue with the advertising agency. Despite the setback, Molly's positivity that the board shop will bounce back inspires Alf, and he comes up with the perfect solution. When Roo finds Alf standing in the middle of the caravan park, he announces that the answer has been staring him in the face all along. He's going to relocate the shop there. The property borders the beach, and there'll be plenty of passing trade with the caravan bookings. Roo's all for the idea, but when Alf suggests he could clear out the old storage shed, she wonders whether that will be wholly suitable for his needs. Alf is sure he can make it work. All he needs is a space to sell some bait and tackle after all. "I reckon you're a genius," Roo proudly tells him. That evening, Roo and Marilyn summon Leah and Justin to Summer Bay House, where Roo announces Alf's plans to relocate the shop. Leah and Justin are happy to help out on Roo's request, which also involves deciding on where the new shop will be located. Alf points out that's already been decided, the old shed, but Roo is unhappy about that idea and is looking into quotes for a purpose-built unit. Roo continues working on it throughout the evening, and later presents Alf with some ideas, as well as working out what he'll need for council approval. Alf is beginning to lose his patience though. He's only made the decision today and it's all happening a bit too fast. Alf announces that he's had enough for one night, and heads up to bed. The next morning, as Roo continues on her quest, Alf shuts up shop at Flat Beach Wharf for the final time. He tells Marilyn, Justin and Bree that he's not about to get sentimental about a bit of real estate. But Marilyn can tell that Alf is putting on a brave face. Bree can't help but feel guilty, knowing that the incident at hospital which saw Alf nearly die under her watch was the beginning of his run of bad luck. She ponders with boyfriend Remy as to how they could help. A short while later, Roo has gathered together some quotes for a new shed, but as Alf reluctantly looks through them he balks at the price, $35. Alf's adamant that it's not going to happen, and he'll go back to clearing out the old shed. Bree and Remy later approach Roo at the diner to ask if they can help Alf in any way. But when Roo explains it's all in hand except for Alf's stubbornness about not forking out for a new build, Remy stuns her by offering to pay for it himself, following his recent windfall. Slightly put out, Roo rejects the offer, pointing out that she doesn't feel it's appropriate given her recent history with Bree. However, when she later finds Alf perusing over the quotes again, after pulling them out of the bin, she wonders whether he's hiding his true feelings about the situation. As Alf heads out, telling Roo to put them back in the bin, Remy arrives to talk to Roo about her harsh rejection. Remy tells her that it's unfair to turn down the money solely to get back at Bree. He reminds her that, in the end, it's Alf who's suffering the most, as he's losing out on valuable support. Roo has a change of heart and gladly accepts Remy's offer. but is disappointed when she learns that the chosen shed would take more than 3 months to be installed. Roo instead calls on Justin and John, asking if they would be able to build something similar. What's more, she wants to keep it a secret from Alf and surprise him. Justin, John, Marilyn and Leah collude together as they plan the project, and the guys head down to the caravan park the very next morning to start work. In the meantime, Marilyn is tasked with keeping Alf out of the way, which is not going to be an easy feat, particularly given she has issues with lying to her beloved Mr. Stewart. Leah calls by at Summer Bay House, covering with Alf by claiming she's borrowing a cookbook from Marilyn, and asks her whether she's got a plan in place. Marilyn's answer is a nervous no. Marilyn tries to think on her feet and organize something to do with Alf, and panics when he explains that his plan for the day is to head down into the caravan park, wanting to sort out all the stuff from the old shop. Alf heads towards the door and Marilyn is forced to act quickly, feigning a dizzy spell. As a concerned Alf sits her down, it seems her plan has worked for the moment. Down in the park, Justin isn't finding John's presence very helpful, who is less concerned about getting his hands dirty and more about where Leah is with their morning tea. When Leah finally does arrive, she's soon summoned up to the house by a text from Marilyn, who desperately needs her assistance. Covering again by taking Alf some food, poor old Justin will have to go without as she grabs his bacon and egg roll out of his hand. Leah suggests that she's also feeling a little off color. Maybe Alf should head upstairs and put his feet up in case they're contagious. Alf agrees to do so, and as Leah and Marilyn head down to the building site, they're chuffed that they've pulled the wool over his eyes. But little do they know that Alf has secretly followed them down there. As he watches on from afar, will Alf let on that he knows their little secret? Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more movie spoilers next week. Goodbye and see you again.